All right, more probabilities, everybody. We have assignment 5C, and what this assignment has completely to do with is just purely table problems. Table problems. So again, let me go ahead and bring in my general rules of probabilities and things like that. And what we are really focusing on here is just purely the table problems. So again, the probability of A is the number of A's. A and B is the intersection. So the word and is the intersection. Or is the A's plus the B's minus the and. A plus B minus the and. And the word given, the second piece becomes the total, and the and is the numerator. So again, those are your basic rules of probabilities as far as tables are concerned. So we will not see any of these and then problems today. We'll not see any of these. Not to say that they're not important, but we are not going to see these today. We are just focusing purely on the table problems. So again, if you look for the probability of the number of A's, that is literally the number of A's out of the total. The total is usually found in the lower right. If I'm looking for the probability of A and B, what you do is you look at where the category of A intersects with the category of B. Okay, and that again is out of the total. The word or, the probability of A or B. You take the number of A's, you add the number of B's, and you subtract off the and, or AKA the intersection. And that's out of, again, the total. And then last but not least is what is the probability of A given B. And so you take the number of B's, and that becomes that bottom number, and the intersection, the and, is the numerator. So again, that's your brief explanation of table problems. So again, you're looking for, in essence, the key word, okay, that exists. And this vertical line, again, represents the word given. All right, so with this problem right here, again, we have to maybe get a little bit tricky here and there, but just looking forward through the problems, we have the word given, the word given, the word and, the word or, the word or, the word or, the word or, the word or. That's it, okay? So those are the fancy words that you really have to look out for. And notice that the total is usually out of 221. Okay, unless you see the word given, the total is out of 221. So on your mark, get set, go. What's the probability of being a pilot? So a pilot is 82. Next, what is the probability that we are Navy? And that's 40. Next, what is the probability that we are mechanized given Air Force? So Air Force is 49, okay? That's the Air Force. And mechanized, they intersect at 7. I'll come back and clean these up in just a moment, but I'm just kind of quickly going through these problems. Okay, we have the word given, so the second piece becomes the total. So mechanized is now the total in this case. So mechanized is 65, so that's out of 65. And the intersection is the numerator, so that's intersection with Air Force. And again, they intersect at 7. The word and, so this is going to be the intersection. So the intersection of mechanized and Air Force, so mechanized and Air Force is 7, and that's out of the total. After that, we have the word or, so it's A plus B minus and. So it's mechanized plus Air Force minus the mechanized Air Force. So that's 65. and 49 minus the intersection of 7, all out of the total. Pilot or infantry. So we add the pilots. What color am I on? I'm on blue. So we add the pilots, we add the infantry, and then we subtract off any intersections. We notice that there aren't any intersections. So that's what, 8 and 82 and 74 minus no intersections. Next, we have Navy or Marines. So again, the word or is A plus B minus intersection out of the total. So Navy or Marines. So Navy, Marines, minus the intersections. There aren't any intersections, so that is minus 0. So it's 40 and 48. Minus no intersections out of the total. Army or Marine pilot. Okay, so here is where we get a little bit tricky. So Army, Marine pilots are just very specifically that, 4. Those are the only Marine pilots. So Army or Marine pilots would be 84 and 4, and there, again, there's no intersections. So that was 84 and 4 with no intersections. Next we have Navy infantry. I guess those are Navy SEALs or something like that. Navy infantry, very specifically that. Or Air Force mechanized, and again, it's very specifically that particular cell. And they obviously don't intersect, so it's 3 and 7. And no intersections. Pilot or Navy. So again, or as you add them up. So pilots, 82. Navy, 40. Minus the 25 intersection. So we add up, so it's A plus B minus and. 82 and 40 minus 25. And that is, okay, so that is your assignment. Pretty easy. Effort on, how to round numbers. So again, one more time, let me go over the rules. Just, again, these need to be on your formula sheet. Okay, if you're just looking for a probability of something, that would be the examples of problems A and B. I'm looking for the probability of being a pilot. And so that would be the number of pilots out of the total. Okay, and then we have the word and, like A and B. Okay, problem E, mechanized and Air Force. What you do is you look for the intersection of the two different categories out of the total. Okay, you look for the intersection out of the total. The word or, A or B. You add up the two different things in general, and then you subtract off any intersection if they happen to occur. Subtract off any intersection. Sometimes the intersection doesn't occur, like in problems G, H, and I. Notice that there wasn't an intersection in those cases. All right, so you would minus 0. However, sometimes there are intersections, like in question K and question F. Okay, where the two things do have an intersection. Okay, so just heads up, it's you add the two things and subtract off any intersection. Okay, in all of these things, they're out of the total. Again, the total is usually found in the lower right-hand corner. Now, the only time you deviate from that, and it's not out of the total itself, is when you have the word given. So let's say smiley face given star, smiley face given star. And what happens in that situation is the number of stars become the total, and the intersection of the smiley faces and stars becomes the numerator. Okay, and so that is like letter C, where the second piece becomes the total. So the Air Forces become the total, and the intersection of the mechanized and Air Force is the numerator. So those are, in essence, your table probabilities real quickly. All right, so here we go. Again, there might be some questions. I think we have to skip a few problems in here because they're just not anything. Anyways, here we go. Action. So the number of actions out of the total. Pretzels. The number of pretzels out of the total. Given nachos. So nachos are now the total. So the nachos are the bottom. And the intersection of comedy and nachos intersect at 60 is the numerator. Next, we have the word given. So the second piece is going to become the total. So the comedy becomes the total. So that's 227. And the nachos and the comedy, the intersection is the numerator. So the nachos and the comedy intersect at 60. Letter E is just straight up the intersection, because it's the word and. So that where does comedy intersect with nachos? They intersect at 60. Again, out of the total, which is now back to 857. So again, notice how the totals are always 857 unless you have the word givens. So the givens will affect that total, and we know how they affect it. So just heads up. So the word or is when I add and subtract off the intersection. So this next problem is the number of comedies plus the number of nachos minus the intersection of comedy nachos out of the total. Popcorn or pretzels. Popcorn or pretzels is next. So that would be the number of popcorns plus the number of pretzels minus the popcorn pretzels. So the popcorns, pretzels, minus any intersection, and there isn't. So that's 389 and 274. Minus any intersections, there wasn't, out of the total. Next is the popcorn and pretzels. Popcorn and pretzels. So what we're looking for is where do the popcorns and pretzels intersect? They don't. They don't intersect. So what's the popcorn and pretzels? 0 out of 857. There's 0 out of 857. Okay, next question is action popcorn. So action popcorn, or, so I add with horror nachos. Horror nachos. They don't intersect, so that's 120 and 52. With no intersection, again, out of the total. Next, we have horror or comedy popcorn. Horror or comedy. So horror or comedy what? Comedy popcorn. They don't intersect at all. So that's 96 and 186. I guess vice versa. Maybe 186 and 96. Minus no intersection, 857. All right, this is the last question, and like I'm going to, in essence, cut this question. Not popcorn and not drama. So what's not popcorn? So not popcorn would be this. That's not popcorn, and simultaneously not drama. So what's not drama? This. So what's not popcorn and not drama? So what's not popcorn and not drama? It's where the things intersect, and that would be that 74, the 83, the 60, the 71, the 52, and the 63. Don't worry about a problem being that hard. So 74 and 83. '74 and 83, 60 and 71. '52 and 63. All out of 857. So that's where they're both. Again, don't sweat that last question. Be ballers when it comes to the rest of these. again, before we get out of here, if I have to break everything down into just some simple ideas, this is the simple idea right here. This is what you need to know when it comes to tables. Write that on a formula sheet somewhere if you haven't done so.